Pleasantries over, we start the formal proceedings. Can I invite on stage our colleague Chetan Parekh, Managing Partner of the MENA FinTech practice for Cedar, who is going to give us a market overview.
Morning everyone. A quick background about myself. I've been in the industry for 2 decades, mainly assisting banks with next generation digital technology. Right? That's what me and my team does for a living. And I'm just giving you a perspective on how Saudi market is changing and what's next from digital banking and AI perspective. So just before we jump into the deep looking at the data, I think a lot has been said globally. Everybody wants to be in Gen AI. Everybody wants to use Gen AI without really appreciating that whatever we are discussing today has been around for a few decades. It's not now that AI started. AI has been around for a very, very long time. Many of you remember early contact centers, voice processors, NLPs, text-to-speech engines. These were all early AI use cases. Yeah. So that's when AI started. Of course, what has changed? Gen AI solutions and models which is recently coming, especially LLM model of ChatGPT, which made it suddenly very, very popular because it started touching the life of masses, right? So that's what has changed. And that is the main reason you listen a lot of AI now and how I can use AI. So I'll quickly go with 3 key agenda items. First is let's look at the banking in KSA. As Robin rightly highlighted, KSA is one of the largest market, clearly a market of deep interest because it has a large mass population, it has a large corporate population, and it's one of the few countries in the Middle East which does a lot of manufacturing and activities, which is not found in other countries. Other countries are predominantly oil economies. We'll then look into the global trends and what do we see Saudi Bank of the future look like. So starting with the growth, banking is growing. Of course, post-COVID, it's in a recovery phase where everything had come to a halt. So you see the growth both on deposits and assets are in 7.5%, 8%, which is considered quite reasonable and healthy. Overall, it's all government-led. Government is giving a major push, and you can see right from housing program to Vision 2030, which is put by government to very clearly drive the economy, as well as digitization. As all of you know, last year, SAMA announced first set of digital licenses to top 3 digital banks, and most of these banks are in near launch situation, where many banks have a major impact. Now again, Saudi, if anybody believes, have a small penetration, even with channels and mobile banking, digital penetration is sitting at 72%. So Saudi widely uses devices and digital means to do banking. Now let's look at global and see where Saudi is sitting and how do you compare Saudi. So overall, globally in 2023, there is 2.1 billion digital banking users. And when you look West, everybody believes West is very, very modern. There's not branch-based banking, but you look at penetration, 43%, 264 million internet banking and mobile banking users, what they consider as online banking. Europe, quite sophisticated, 397 million, little better, 48%. Africa and MENA, as we call, 32%, 425 million users. And of course, Asia has the largest, though penetration is low, because lower income and other yet do not have an access in many markets. But overall, 2.1 billion, Saudi is sitting at 51% penetration. So from an overall perspective, when you look at global to Saudi, Saudi is not behind. Yeah, it's actually running at 51%. Crux is there is not enough services launched, there is not enough opportunities encashed. So that's where the opportunity exists for online banking and users perspective. Again, when you look at digital banking, and on the right hand side, you see the digital banking population. First 3 bars are showing you where the penetration is today. So it's 51% of the population which is penetrated with digital banking, and it's going towards 71. So next 4 years, you will see the largest growth of internet, mobile, and digital banks. And a very apt time where SAMA has allowed digital banks like IO, STC Pay, and D360. Again, all 3 digital banks are likely to offer mass affluent, and certain SME solutions, right? Again, if you look at 80% of prefer in the latest survey, say they prefer digital banking compared to branch-based banking. And 77% has access to digital channels weekly. So it's a weekly access, it's not about once in a month when salary comes. Large amount of physical branches which were there in Saudi Arabia is on a verge of decline. So if anybody believes branch banking has a great future, it's globally declining at the rate of 10%. In Saudi is no different. Branches are coming down. Of course, new banks will open the branches, but you have to look at an overall data perspective. Looking at the payments, now what happens when typically payments become near time or instant? There is a huge growth you see on the right. So left hand side graph, which shows you the amount of payment growth. And again, we are talking about a good 47% increase on payments through POS, tokenization, some of these methods. And again, moving towards payments, 58% are operating with cards and Apple Pay, Samsung Pay and stuff. So it's not really a use of cash, right? So it's already going away from cash, though global market benchmark on cash is sitting somewhere in the range of 65 to 70. So Saudi has a lot of opportunity to move towards the global benchmarks. Huge amount of option, as again BNPL player was allowed. Tamara, which got license, has been widely popular for payment mechanism when people have retail store-based procurements. Again, all this comes back to FinTech community, and the community is fast growing. For anybody who thinks Saudi is not the place where things are getting developed, there are 147 FinTech firms as of last year, January, registered in Saudi Arabia. And these firms are not sales offices. These firms are having unique ideas they want to offer to Saudi market, right? And see the kind of investment, 4 billion in investments in payment solutions is the biggest bucket. 30% of the fintechs are in payments, followed by lending and business tools. When you look at regulators and fintechs, SAMA has themselves opened its sandbox. I know some SAMA representatives are in a room today. So you really have gone ahead and led the road. Otherwise, normally if you look at Dubai or UAE, other markets, it is DIFC, it's a financial body who has done some of these initiatives. So it's great to see regulators themselves doing sandbox, Visa Everywhere initiatives, which is really helping the whole thing. And cybersecurity. Again, when you look at the cybersecurity, that's a major focus right now, given the spread of the digital. In terms of fintechs, there are huge announcements. And as you see, fintechs are likely to grow to almost 500 odd fintechs by 2030. So we are talking about 4 times growth in the coming years. Now looking at how banks are going to get impacted, because fintechs globally, people thought they will replace banks. That's not found true. In the markets where fintechs have succeeded, they've always succeeded with collaborating with banks and launching new ideas. So it's a complementing offering to the bank, to enable bank. See, banks traditionally has been risk focused. They will not take a risk if it's not required. Fintechs is bringing an agility to this whole pace, So if you look at the trends going forward, digital customer journeys. So if you are a solution provider giving digital solutions, you really need to look at the journeys which you are delivering to the banks. And that's an area of great interest to the banks. Most of the banks will look at segments like wealth, affluent, affluent plus, and then ask digital solutions for these segments to delivery end to end. Second, electronic payments. That's a major trend where payments, both B2B and B2C, will go down with a significant amount of growth. Third, trade and supply chain. Being an industrial economy, and this is what government is pushing for, trade and supply chain becomes another major area of growth. There is no real digital supply chain finance solutions in the local market. So there are government agencies who are pushing for it to ensure that trade, supply chain, transaction banking. In last 3 years, top 5 Saudi banks have invested in transaction banking solution. And they're all building their corporate portals to meet the trade and supply chain finance requirements. Coming to fourth major trend, AI, machine learning, and automation. Now people must understand that AI may be a buzzword, but machine learning is for real. AI's LLM models are real. And these analytical models help you automate certain tasks. So again, automation has been there for a very, very long time. We did core bankings, we did transaction banking, we did digital bankings. But how do we bring in self-learning capability? How do we bring in automated AI and ML based analytics into it? So that's what is changing. Fifth, thanks to regulation change, November 2022, when open banking was formally announced and a framework, very detailed framework was put on the table. Most banks are working with APIs and solutions. So everybody is towards re-engineering the banking stack as microservices and APIs. So that's where material change you're going to see on open banking. But remember, open banking is not about technology. People misunderstand open banking as a technology. No, it's customer experience and convenience. If you go back to UK and understand what UK did in 2018 to 2023, last 5 years, Nordics, which is a market leading geography when it comes to open banking, they basically enabled APIs so that banks and businesses can collaborate and deliver unique customer experience. And customer was given a right to choose his bank and move his bank. Like you move telco. Like you move telco in your SIM, you can move your bank account, you can move your financial products to the best bank. So it is going to help banks becoming significantly better. Yeah? So that's the open banking. Regulatory technology is also majorly changing, led by SAMA and compliance guidelines. Significant amount of change is going to happen on regulatory side. Now let's look at each area and see what's changing. Customer journey. The biggest change is self-onboarding. So again, if you are a solution supplier or a bank, start thinking self-onboarding. Saudi has already enabled with Nafat the identity solution. So you have an identity solution. Today you talk to many markets like Oman and other GCC countries. They don't even have identity solution. So it takes time. Qatar. So even developed markets do not have identity solutions in place. And this is one learning at least world has taken from India. India with its Aadhaar, digital identity, changed the complete payments landscape. So that's what Nafat is doing for Saudi. And if you are not doing self-onboarding of mass customers or affluent customers, you're basically losing out. So that's where a lot of focus is. Digital transformations. Many of you will remember Saudi was the first geography in the GCC to have a digital bank meme, where first time digital lending was done, digital cards were delivered, And that was back in 2016, yeah, 3 years before COVID. So now what you're going to see is the next avatar of Al-Raji, A&B, many of these enterprises, Bank Al-Bilad, to launch the digital customer experience. Again, fintech collaborations, as I explained, fintechs are growing from what today, 147 to 525. And if so many fintechs exist, each of them have a B2B or a B2C idea. Can you monetize the idea by your data? As a bank, you're carrying huge amount of data. You need to move this into a data platform, start looking at qualifying segments and customers, and what can you launch with your fintechs as a collaboration. And again, Sama itself is taking lead in approving these fintechs through its sandbox. Digital channel, again, SME is no behind. Kafala, one of the Saudi government agency related use case on supply chain finance, is quite famous. Yeah, so Kafala did with VFin, a very, very interesting use case. Same JB Lantic is also available. So market is clearly adopting digital. You really need to be having a clear vision for your bank on digital. Moving further, electronic payments is again a major. So Saudi right up front did a lot of things right. You set up Sadad to do bill payments, not duplicate, just a single gateway. You did very early Saudi pay, and again the whole MADA, which was set up as a local scheme. So this hugely puts upfront towards a cashless society and moving towards, with STC Pay, MADA successes, it's very, very clearly visible that it's going to be digital driven. Buy now, pay later was the next innovation, which is also accepted very well, with both Tamara and Tabby being significantly growing in the local market. So again, BNPL, there was a question mark around BNPL, saying will it succeed? Will customer pay back? Is it the risk rightly taken? A lot of those questions, if you look at Tamara's data and growth data, as well as repayment cash flow data, yeah, it'll answer itself. Cross-border payment is a next big thing. SWIFT has been around for a long while, but how do you reduce cost and friction in cross-border payment? Because payments with GCC and GCC RTGS Plus is going to get real time. With Buna and Afaq coming in, it's going to, corridor payments are going to become easy. But we now need to look beyond and see how can I pay Europe, US on the same day and not necessarily through SWIFT. Last but not the least, the e-wallets. Again, there is a huge e-wallet and a payment opportunity. Now, many of the people felt when e-wallets come in, when wallet comes in, your banking payments will go down. People will pay through mobile, people will pay through the wallets. That's not true at all. Globally, 47 markets have introduced instant payments. And again, instant payment is there since 1974. So if you think instant payment is latest, that's also not true. In these 47 markets, there is a huge learning. To give you one example, when India introduced UPI, and UPI grew to 7 million transactions today, on a day, the banking transactions increased at an average CAGR of 22%. So there is no linkage. This is the new market where people find convenient way to pay. Earlier they were exchanging cash. They were exchanging transfers. Now they do many more times payment than what normal payments do. Again, one of the beneficiary of this payment infrastructure is going to be trade and supply chain. And if you are not there with a multi-channel offering in trade and supply chain, with your transaction banking portal up and running, your mobile app up and running, a straight-through processing. So we are really not looking for paper drops. So corporates are looking for multi-currency uploads from their ERP through host to host into the bank. They are not really looking to type payments. They are not looking to, in fact, we did a very interesting study for HSBC. where HSBC wanted to know why the trade business wasn't very successful. And what outcome came out is customers saying, I'm paying a commission for writing a trade LC. Why should I type LC for HSBC also? So then HSBC got the message. They put the RFID and the QR codes, which read the form instead of customer typing the form. And all Incoterms and other things start becoming available as part of the QR reading. So clearly, huge opportunity, and banks like Al Rajhi, Al Jazeera, all of them are implementing the trade automation solutions. And supply chain finance is a major initiative which leading petroleum companies here are thinking how they bring in buyers-led supplier programs and supplier-led programs on lending. This will help community of small, medium suppliers being funded at the right credit framework and the right pricing. Yeah, so that's what's changing on trade and supply chain. AI, ML and automation. So again, while technology has been around for a few decades, it's now getting mass utilized. Globally, AI market is 330 million. And again, within AI market, if you look at the CAGR over the next 5 years, it's going to be huge. So these are models written for different use case. And as my colleague asked earlier, a very simple question. How do you get AI to work for you? AI will work for you if you know what question to ask, what work to do. If that is specific, AI will get you a specific answer in split of a second. So as a banker, look at generative AI. Again, there is a body created within Saudi with Saudi Data and Artificial Intelligence Authority, which is putting a governance framework around it, what AI can and cannot be used for. So anybody who thinks again that AI will reduce people and the jobs is absolutely wrong. AI will ensure human does not mundane work, decision-making work, more innovative work. That's what AI is going to make a big difference with. Open banking, this is the biggest opportunity Saudi has. And Saudi has again picked up this opportunity before UAE, Oman, and many GCC countries. So when you look at open banking, there are multiple use cases. Payment initiation, account information, personal finance products, investments, wealth management. There's a huge case studies around wealth management with people like Valley and all coming in. And there are multiple fintechs available. And again, many of them are already having conversations in Saudi market. So really, these are not only like Tarabut Gateway did a launch last January, right, in Saudi. So these are available in Saudi as an option to partner and launch. Again, RegTech plays a huge role. And any digitization cannot be successful without a proper governance framework from a regulator. Saudi has been very, very upfront with regulation. SAMA and Cybersecurity Authority have 2 key approvals to be taken for any RegTech implementations. And again, government initiatives, Vision 2030 alignment, cross-sector, and technology. All these aspects, regulatory is pushing. With the sandbox coming in, as well as new generation technologies are being allowed to be POC. Last but not the least, let's look at why should bank change? What's in it? Why bank should change? So today, banking is largely silo, org structures, consumer bank, corporate bank, SME bank, project oriented. I'm doing a project to improve something minor. Typically projects take 9 months, 12 months, sometimes 20 months. Automation mindset is lacking. There is no real AI, machine learning in place. And really looking at limited use of technology. Where, what a good bank looks like. A good bank looks like collaborative culture, a culture of innovation. And we'll talk at length about this today. Customer centric. Are you designing solutions for your customer or you're just launching without customers' need? Iterative approach. So introducing agile in the bank. And try, fail. You may fail. but next version will succeed. Automation. Again, intelligent automation with AI ML enabled. Clean, modern technology. Go away from monolithic servers, applications, bring interesting best of breed players to take it forward. So that's the new bank. And all of this can be done if bank focuses on key priorities. And these are the 6 key priorities I recommend. Digital bank. So focus digital. Don't do manual, branch-based, and then digitize. Start digital natively. Second, customer-centric. Look at what customer is looking for. Saudi customer is very, very different from a UAE customer. What worked in UAE will not work here. What worked in London will not work here. You have your own customer. Voice of customer is very, very important. Third, AI and data-driven. Now, any AI will work only if you have a good quality data. So start looking at your data carefully. Invest in mining your data, moving it to data platform. Moment you introduce self-service, customer will clean his own data. You don't need to do it. Just enable. Today, if you talk to banks like Emirates NBD, which are quite advanced in these areas, complete KYC updates is done by customer. No form filling, no signing. Do it online, QR code scan, update yourself. An account will get unfrozen, also automated. Agile culture. Agile culture says move fast and move in a group with a group thought process. There is no individual winner, right? So do fast and do every month delivery. Don't wait 9 months, 12 months, 25 months to deliver things. Fintechs, do not try and innovate yourself. As a bank, you are not the best place to do innovation. Universities, fintechs, these are the better people, more younger people, different thought. They don't have a risk constraints, which a bank has. So partner with fintechs and think differently. Think banking as a service, think platform as a service, think payment as a service. You don't need to build traditional current accounts, savings accounts, and cards. Feel free.
Just for the fintech innovation,
Yes.
today in the fintech industry and people coming to us.
Can you give the mic? It's on.
The main issue in the fintech industry and the people coming to us is that they are not aware of the banking industry. And sometimes they just thought that I will gonna build a platform and will provide a service and that's it. The issue is that they don't understand the banking industry very well, the regulatory things that they have to fulfill. Sometimes they don't have even a business model, operating model to operate. So that's why innovation in fintech industry, might be fast, but it's not up to the scale of being, executed and becoming a reality and sustain. So sustainability here is a big challenge.
Absolutely, and this is a very, very well said point and completely agree with you. So, see, fintech brings idea and they bring technology. They never understood banking or regulation, and bank also has to change. But what bank brings to the table is license, knowledge of customer, and knowledge of regulation. And it's bank who has to partner together and launch. That's what.
Yeah, sorry. That's why if the fintech company is under the structure of a bank, for sure it will succeed more than those who will be just operating outside without this kind of consultancy and support.
Absolutely. So I would call it a coaching and advisory. So if bank can give coaching and advisory, that's when the fintechs would have a great success. You're absolutely right. That's it from my side. If anybody has any questions, happy to answer. I'm also available through the day, should anybody have any questions.